The sky over the planet Zithera 7 was a dull, steely gray, streaked with trails of smoke and sparks from distant explosions. Alien war machines roared across the broken plains, kicking up clouds of dust and debris. The humans had been sent here as allies to assist the local species, the Varkari, in defending their colonies from a relentless enemy known only as the Zirans. Among the alien soldiers, a hush fell when a lone figure appeared on the horizon. She was human, a rare sight in this part of the galaxy. Her armor was battered, scratched, and dented, showing clear signs of many battles. Some panels hung loose, revealing the layers beneath, patched together with ingenuity rather than finesse. The Varkari soldiers, with their sleek metallic exosuits and polished weapons, glanced at each other and snickered. "Look at that," whispered one, a tall Varkari with orange-tinted armor. "She's barely holding herself together. Is that what the humans send to fight for us? She'll break on the first shot," another replied, shaking his head. The human, Lena, walked steadily toward the front line, unbothered by their laughter. Her brown hair was tied back tightly, and her hazel eyes scanned the battlefield with precision. Every step she took was confident, measured, and purposeful. She didn't need their approval. She had faced worse. A sudden blast rocked the ground near her feet. Lena rolled instinctively, narrowly avoiding shrapnel. She popped up, pulling a compact energy rifle from her back. With calm efficiency, she aimed and fired, taking out a pair of enemy drones before they could reach the Varkari lines. The alien soldiers froze, their jaws dropping. That human just destroyed 2 drones before they even fired. One muttered, "She's fast." "Smarter than I thought," another admitted, though pride still lingered in his voice. Lena continued forward, weaving through the chaos. Her armor groaned under the strain, a panel on her left shoulder cracking and falling away. She didn't stop to fix it. Every second counted. Every move mattered. She needed to reach the flank where a squad of Varkari soldiers was trapped by a Ziran ambush. As she sprinted, a flashback came to her mind. Weeks ago, on a distant space station, Lena had been part of a salvage team. They had collected scraps from destroyed battleships, broken drones, and fallen soldiers' equipment. Lena was not like the others. While her team focused on the obvious valuable metals, she looked for pieces that could be reforged, reshaped, or strengthened. It was during that time she found it, a section of an alien commander's shield, cracked and scorched from a battle that had nearly destroyed the Varkari fleet. Many had thought it lost forever. To others, it was just another scrap, but Lena recognized its potential. She spent long nights reforging it into part of her armor, blending human engineering with alien materials. The result was resilient, light, and unlike anything the Zirans could easily pierce. She had kept this secret piece hidden beneath other panels, a silent tribute to the Varkari commander she had never met. The memory faded as reality surged back. The trapped Varkari soldiers were calling for help, their energy blasters useless against the incoming Zirans. Lena slid behind a fallen mech, then leapt over the edge of a crater, rolling to absorb the impact. She raised her rifle and fired in short, precise bursts, disabling the closest enemies. The Varkari soldiers hesitated, then, seeing her effectiveness, joined in, their confidence restored. Together, they pushed the Zirans back, forcing them to retreat temporarily. After the skirmish, one of the Varkari officers, a sleek alien with silver plating, approached Lena. "Human," he said cautiously. "Your armor is strange, and you fight differently. Why don't you use standard tactics?" Lena shrugged, wiping a smear of grime from her cheek. "I survive. That's all that matters. Strategy doesn't always follow their manuals." The alien officer frowned. "Survival is one thing, but your armor, it looks broken. You could be killed at any moment." Lena's lips curved into a faint smile. "Maybe. Or maybe it's stronger than it looks." He looked down at the battered suit, unconvinced. "I have seen many battles. Never have I seen a human soldier approach the front line alone like this." Lena didn't answer. She only scanned the horizon again. There were more Zirans approaching, and she couldn't afford to argue philosophy with an alien officer. The battlefield had grown chaotic. Energy blasts tore through the sky. Metal clashed with metal, and the ground trembled under the weight of massive machinery. Lena ducked behind a crumbling wall, reloading her rifle. Her armor creaked, and a thin plume of smoke rose from her left shoulder where the hidden shield piece was placed. It had absorbed a shot that would have torn through ordinary armor. The aliens around her were impressed but confused. How can she survive that? One whispered. The answer was simple. Lena's human ingenuity, adaptability, and courage allowed her to turn what seemed weak into strength. She didn't rely on flashy technology or polished armor. She relied on her mind, instincts, and the experience of countless battles. Suddenly, a loud roar echoed across the plains. A massive Xiran mech stomped into view, its weapons trained on the Varkari line. Panic rippled through the ranks. Soldiers scrambled, looking for cover. Lena took a deep breath. She assessed the situation in seconds, calculating angles, distances, and weak points. Without hesitation, she sprinted toward the mech, weaving through enemy fire with grace and precision. She fired at its joint mechanisms, causing it to stagger. Then she climbed a nearby ridge and leapt onto the mech itself, using its exposed panels as footholds. The Varkari soldiers watched in awe as the human, with broken armor and patched gear, scaled the towering machine like it was nothing. Lena reached the cockpit, pried it open, and disabled the mech from within. Sparks flew and the colossal machine fell with a deafening crash, shaking the ground for miles. For a moment, the battlefield was silent, except for the crackle of fires and the distant rumble of retreating enemies. Then the aliens began murmuring among themselves. "Did you see that?" One said. "She climbed the mech. Alone. She's not just a soldier. She's a force," another whispered. Even the skeptical officer from before approached Lena, eyes wide. "Human, that was remarkable. You fight with courage and creativity. I admit I underestimated you." Lena nodded, brushing dust from her armor. "I don't fight to impress anyone. I fight to survive, and to help those who can't defend themselves." The officer studied her closely. You may be one of us yet in spirit." Lena allowed herself a small smile. But she knew this was only the beginning. The Xirans would regroup, and this planet was far from safe. Her mission was clear: protect the Varkari, survive, and reveal the strength of humanity in a galaxy that often underestimated them. As night began to fall, Lena crouched on the ridge overlooking the battlefield. Her armor was battered, her energy low, but her mind was sharp. She had won the respect of the aliens, even if they didn't fully understand how. The secret of the hidden shield in her armor remained with her, a silent advantage for the battles to come. Somewhere deep in the Varkari command center, the legendary commander's shield, long thought lost, would be remembered again, its purpose renewed in the hands of a human warrior. And Lena, the unexpected hero, would continue to prove that courage, intelligence, and ingenuity could triumph even against the most fearsome foes. The war on Zithira 7 had only just begun, and the aliens who laughed at her broken armor were about to learn a lesson they would never forget. The night on Zithira 7 was heavy with smoke, and the distant echoes of explosions. Fires from destroyed mechs cast flickering shadows across the shattered plains. Lena crouched behind a jagged rock outcrop, her battered armor catching faint glimmers of the flames. She could hear the soft hum of alien energy weapons and the low growl of approaching Xirans. The battle was far from over. The Varkari soldiers had regrouped after the mech incident. Their confidence, sparked by Lena's daring actions, had grown. Yet they still hesitated, their alien instincts warning them of the Xirans' next move. Lena knew that hesitation could cost lives. She adjusted the panels on her left shoulder, the hidden shield underneath holding strong despite the earlier damage. The secret advantage gave her a quiet confidence. From the ridge, Lena observed the enemy's movement. Xiran units were flanking the Varkari left side, preparing to crush their line in a coordinated strike. Their leader, a towering Xiran warlord, was in a hovering command pod, directing the troops with ruthless precision. Lena didn't waste time. She called out to the nearest Varkari squad. "Left flank, hold your positions but cover me. I'll disrupt their formation." The squad hesitated. One of the younger soldiers, a sharp-eyed Varkari named Kira, stepped forward. "You're going alone?" she asked, her voice tinged with both fear and admiration. Lena nodded. "I have a plan. Stick to your positions and be ready to move when I signal." With that, Lena sprinted toward the approaching Xirans, weaving through craters and debris. The alien soldiers watched, some in disbelief, some in awe. The human with broken armor was running straight into the enemy lines. The Xirans opened fire, Energy bolts hissed through the air, striking the ground and kicking up dust. Lena ducked and rolled, using every inch of terrain to shield herself. She fired back, precise and controlled, disabling several units before they could react. One Xiran soldier, confused by her speed and unpredictability, charged directly at her. Lena sidestepped, grabbed the soldier's arm, and used his momentum to throw him into a nearby crater. She didn't pause. There was no time. The Varkari squad observed her actions with a mixture of awe and disbelief. Her tactics were unorthodox, but effective. She used the environment, her instincts, and her own ingenuity to turn the battle in their favor. Meanwhile, the Xiran warlord noticed Lena. "A human?" he hissed through the communication network. "She's insignificant. Destroy her." But Lena had already anticipated the attack. She dashed toward a series of jagged rocks, drawing the enemy soldiers into a narrow path where their numbers became a disadvantage. One by one, the Xirans fell, unable to maneuver effectively in the confined space. The Varkari soldiers, inspired by her actions, advanced steadily. They no longer hesitated. "Follow her lead," one of them shouted, and they did, moving with a newfound coordination and courage. Suddenly, a Xiran artillery unit fired a high-energy blast toward Lena. She rolled behind a large boulder, but the shockwave sent her armor skidding across the rock surface. One panel cracked, revealing a glint of the hidden shield underneath. Sparks flew where the blast hit, but the shield absorbed the worst of the damage, protecting her from serious injury. A group of Varkari soldiers noticed the metallic glint. "Wait, is that?" one began, but then the blast drew their attention back to the fight. Lena pressed on. She knew the enemy had captured an alien commander in a previous skirmish. The commander's life was in danger, and if the Xirans completed their current maneuver, the commander could be executed. Lena formulated a plan. It was risky, almost suicidal, but she didn't flinch. She sprinted through the battlefield, using smoke, debris, and shadows to remain unseen. Her energy rifle hummed quietly as she disabled perimeter sentries one by one. Each step was precise, each action deliberate. She knew she couldn't afford mistakes. Reaching the Xiran encampment, Lena crouched behind a pile of destroyed vehicles. Through the gaps, she could see the captured Varkari commander, bound and guarded by a squad of Xirans. Lena assessed the situation, calculating angles, distances, and timing. With a deep breath, she began her approach. She leapt over debris, slid under barriers, and moved silently across the ground. When a Xiran guard turned unexpectedly, she froze, holding her breath. The guard's laser scanner swept past her without noticing, and she exhaled quietly, continuing forward. She reached the commander's cage and quickly disabled the lock with a small compact tool from her belt. The commander, a veteran alien with silver markings across his armor, looked at her with wide eyes. "You... human?" he whispered, disbelief and relief mixed in his voice. Lena nodded. "No time for introductions. Stay low. I'll get you out." Together, they moved through the encampment, dodging patrols and automated defense systems. Lena's armor creaked and groaned under stress, but she ignored it. Every movement was calculated, every step bringing them closer to safety. As they neared the edge of the encampment, a Xiran warlord appeared, blocking their escape. His massive claws glinted under the pale light. Lena didn't hesitate. She fired a precise shot at the warlord's energy pack, causing sparks to fly and a momentary distraction. She grabbed the commander and pushed him behind cover, readying herself for the next move. The warlord roared, charging at them. Lena fired again, striking its leg joint. The creature stumbled but didn't fall. Lena knew she needed a plan fast. She scanned her surroundings and spotted a narrow passage between two ruined buildings. With a swift motion, she grabbed the warlord's arm and used its own momentum to send it crashing into the debris. The commander's eyes widened. "Incredible. You're human, but you fight like a Varkari master." Lena only shrugged. Experience and a little creativity. With the warlord temporarily incapacitated, they ran toward the waiting Varkari forces. As they approached, the commander noticed something on Lena's armor, a faint metallic gleam from the left shoulder. His eyes widened. That piece, he muttered. It's from my shield, the one lost in the last battle. Lena didn't answer immediately, focusing on the remaining Zirans still on the field. But inside, she felt a quiet satisfaction. The hidden shield had protected her, allowing her to survive attacks that would have been fatal to others. The Varkari soldiers were confused but curious. Her armor. It's made from the commander's shield, one whispered. The commander nodded, awe in his voice. Yes, it is. She has turned a relic of our greatest battle into a tool of survival. This human, she is extraordinary. Lena finally allowed herself a small smile. She had never fought for recognition. She fought to survive and protect others. Yet the realization that her ingenuity and courage had impressed the aliens brought a quiet warmth to her chest. The night wasn't over. The Zirans were regrouping, and their next attack would be stronger. Lena knew she couldn't stop here. She needed to inspire the Varkari, show them that humans could fight not just with strength but with intelligence, courage, and strategy. She stood on the ridge once more, the commander beside her, watching the battlefield below. We need a plan for the next wave, Lena said. And we'll need every soldier ready to act. The enemy won't make it easy. The commander nodded, respect evident in his tone. We will follow your lead, human. You've shown us a new way to fight. Lena glanced at her broken armor, the hidden shield beneath still intact. It was more than protection. It was a symbol of human ingenuity, adaptability, and the ability to turn what seemed weak into strength. As the first hints of dawn appeared over the horizon, Lena prepared for the next battle. The Zirans would not expect what was coming. And the aliens who had once laughed at her broken armor would soon understand that true strength did not come from appearances. It came from courage, intelligence, and an unbreakable will. The war on Zithra 7 was far from over, but Lena had made her mark. The Varkari would fight with renewed hope, inspired by a human who turned a broken relic into a weapon of survival. And somewhere deep within the enemy ranks, whispers began. This human was not just a soldier. She was a force to be reckoned with. Lena's eyes narrowed. The battle would be long and the enemy relentless, but she had a secret advantage and the determination to survive. The coming hours would test her, the commander, and the Varkari, like never before. But Lena knew one thing for certain: humans, even when underestimated, could change the course of war. And tomorrow, when the Zirans returned, they would face a warrior who refused to be broken. The sun rose slowly over Zithra 7, casting an eerie orange glow across the battle-scarred plains. Smoke still hung in the air, and the distant echoes of explosions reminded everyone that the fight was far from over. Lena stood on a ridge, her broken armor glinting faintly in the morning light. She could feel the eyes of the Varkari soldiers on her, their skepticism fading and their awe growing with each passing hour. The Zirans were regrouping, and this time they had brought reinforcements, larger, more heavily armed units that made even the seasoned Varkari soldiers tense. The alien commander, whose shield had been partially reforged into Lena's armor, stood beside her, visibly shaken by her actions over the last night. "Human," he said, his voice steady but filled with disbelief. "Your tactics, your speed. You fight like no one I have ever seen. But the enemy is stronger now. Can we hold them?" Lena glanced at the horizon, where Ziran war machines moved in tight formations. "We can," she said, her voice calm and confident. "If we use the terrain and our wits, stick close, follow my lead, and don't hesitate," the Varkari soldiers murmured among themselves. They had seen Lena fight, seen her take on impossible odds, yet now they had to trust her leadership in a battle that could determine the fate of their colony. The first wave of Zirans struck quickly. Their machines fired energy blasts that tore through the plains, flattening rocks and craters alike. Lena moved with precision, ducking behind debris, her armor groaning with every impact. Sparks flew from the left shoulder where the hidden shield lay beneath her broken plating. It had absorbed shots that would have pierced any ordinary armor. One of the younger Varkari soldiers, Kira, ran toward Lena, shouting over the chaos. "Human, your armor." "It's different. What is that piece on your shoulder?" Lena didn't answer immediately. She kept moving, firing in short, precise bursts at the advancing Zirans. "You'll see soon enough," she said. Her voice was steady, almost calm, even as explosions shook the ground around them. The enemy pressed forward, a massive Ziran war machine stepping into view. Its claws dug into the soil, sending up clouds of dust. The Varkari soldiers froze, unsure how to tackle such a machine. Lena, however, saw an opportunity. She sprinted toward a nearby pile of rubble, drawing the machine into a narrow canyon. Its size, which had been an advantage, became a liability. The Varkari soldiers followed her lead, coordinating attacks from the flanks. Lena fired at the machine's joints, causing it to stumble. Sparks erupted from its armor, and smoke began to rise. But it was when Lena climbed onto its side that everything changed. The soldiers gasped. The human, with battered armor and exposed scratches, scaled the massive Ziran machine with agility and determination. She reached the control panel, prying it open with tools from her belt. Sparks flew as she disabled its systems, and the colossal machine fell with a deafening crash, shaking the canyon walls. The Varkari soldiers stared wide-eyed. The murmurs spread quickly. "She's using the commander's shield." The commander approached cautiously, his eyes fixed on Lena's armor. "By the stars. It is true," he whispered. "The piece she wears. It's from my shield, the one we thought lost in the Battle of Draxon Ridge." Lena climbed down from the fallen machine, brushing dirt from her armor. "It's still intact. Stronger than you remember." The aliens looked at her in awe, a mixture of respect and disbelief. They had mocked her broken armor just yesterday. Now they realized that her ingenuity, courage, and experience had turned what seemed fragile into something formidable. But the battle was far from over. More Zirans poured into the area, and Lena knew they had to act fast. She rallied the Varkari soldiers, pointing toward strategic positions and instructing them on how to use the terrain to their advantage. "Split into 2 groups," she commanded. "Left flank, high ground. Right flank, follow me through the canyon. Timing is everything. Wait for my signal." The soldiers hesitated only briefly. Lena's actions over the past day had earned their trust. They moved quickly, positioning themselves as she instructed. Lena led the charge through the canyon. Energy blasts screamed past and debris rained down from above, but her movements were fluid and precise. She used the hidden shield strategically, deflecting shots that could have ended her life. Every step, every calculation was deliberate. As they emerged from the canyon, the Zirans were caught off guard. Lena's sudden appearance from an unexpected angle threw them into confusion. She fired rapidly, taking out key targets while the Varkari soldiers moved in to support her. It was during this engagement that the true power of the hidden shield became apparent. One of the largest Ziran machines fired directly at Lena. The energy blast struck her left shoulder where the shield lay beneath the damaged armor. Sparks flew and the force should have knocked her off balance. Instead, she absorbed it, remaining steady. The soldiers around her froze, realizing the source of her resilience, the human. "She's indestructible," one whispered in disbelief. "She wears the commander's shield," another replied. "The one we thought was lost forever." Lena pressed forward, her rifle firing in controlled bursts. She moved with calculated precision, disabling enemy units and protecting the Varkari soldiers who followed her. Every shot, every movement inspired the aliens to fight harder, to push beyond their limits. The battle reached its peak when Lena spotted the Ziran warlord coordinating the enemy from a hovering pod. The pod was heavily shielded, and direct attacks had little effect. Lena formulated a risky plan. She instructed the Varkari soldiers to create a distraction while she moved in closer. Leaping from cover to cover, Lena approached the warlord's pod. Energy bolts whizzed past her, some striking her armor. The hidden shield absorbed the worst of the damage, protecting her from fatal blows. She reached the pod, pried open a small panel, and fired a precise shot at its control systems. Sparks flew, alarms blared, and the pod began to spiral out of control. The Ziran warlord's eyes widened in shock. "Impossible! A human!" he yelled as his pod crashed into the ground, disabling several units nearby. The Varkari soldiers seized the moment, pressing the attack with renewed vigor. Lena's presence and ingenuity had shifted the tide of battle. They moved as one, coordinated and precise, inspired by the courage of a human warrior who had turned a lost relic into a symbol of strength. After the battle, the field was quiet except for the smoke rising from the fallen Ziran machines. Lena crouched, checking her armor and equipment. The hidden shield had taken severe damage but remained functional, a testament to both her skill in reforging it and its original strength. The Varkari commander approached, his expression one of awe and gratitude. "Human, I underestimated you. Your courage, your intelligence. You have turned what was thought lost into a weapon of hope. You have saved lives today." Lena nodded, exhaustion settling in her bones. "I didn't do it for recognition. I did it because it had to be done, and because the shield deserved to be used for something greater than just a relic." The commander studied her carefully. "You are more than a human soldier. You are an inspiration. You have shown us that true strength is not just in numbers or weapons. It is in courage, creativity, and determination." The Varkari soldiers who had once mocked her armor now bowed slightly, showing respect. They whispered among themselves, repeating her name in admiration. Lena had not just fought the Zirans. She had changed the perception of humans in the eyes of an entire alien species. As she stood on the ridge, overlooking the battlefield, Lena felt a quiet sense of satisfaction. The hidden shield had not only protected her, but had revealed the power of ingenuity and determination. The Zirans, though relentless, had underestimated humans, and that mistake had cost them dearly. But Lena knew the war was far from over. Ziran forces were strong, and their next attack could be even more dangerous. She needed to plan, to prepare, and to continue inspiring the Varkari. Her broken armor, once a target of ridicule, was now a symbol of hope and resilience. The aliens who laughed at her yesterday would remember her today. The hidden shield, reforged and reborn in human hands, had changed the course of the battle, and Lena, the unexpected warrior, had proven that humans could turn weakness into strength, doubt into respect, and fear into courage. As the sun climbed higher, Lena checked her weapons and armor, ready for whatever the Zirans would send next. She had survived, inspired allies, and revealed the secret of the hidden shield. But the war was not over. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, and Lena would face them head-on, just as she always had. For the Varkari and for herself, she would continue to fight. And the galaxy would begin to understand that humans, underestimated though they might be, were capable of greatness beyond imagination. The morning sun bathed Zethira 7 in a soft golden light, though the battlefield remained scarred with craters, twisted metal, and the faint smoke of recent fights. Lena stood on a ridge overlooking the plains, her broken armor gleaming faintly as she adjusted the hidden shield on her left shoulder. It had survived countless blasts, and now it had become more than protection. It was a symbol of hope. The Varkari soldiers assembled behind her, their faces a mixture of determination and awe. The events of the past day had changed them. They no longer saw humans as fragile, unpredictable allies. They saw Lena as a force of courage, intelligence, and resilience. The enemy was gathering again. Ziran reinforcements moved in formation, their war machines heavy and menacing. Lena could feel the tension among the Varkari. Many were veterans, yet even they seemed nervous in the face of the Zirans' overwhelming numbers. Lena stepped forward, raising her voice over the wind. "Listen, today we fight together, not just to survive, but to win. Trust in yourselves, trust in each other, and trust in me. Follow my lead, and we will make them regret underestimating us." The soldiers murmured their agreement, nodding as confidence returned. The Varkari commander, standing beside Lena, looked at her with profound respect. "Lead us, human. Show us how to fight like you." With that, Lena turned to face the approaching Zirans. The ground trembled under their machines. Energy weapons charged, firing streaks of light across the battlefield. Lena sprinted forward, using debris, craters, and damaged mechs as cover. The hidden shield absorbed shots that would have destroyed ordinary armor, keeping her safe. She leapt over a fallen mech, landing beside a group of Varkari soldiers. "Push forward," she commanded. "Hit their left flank while I go for the command pod." The soldiers followed, inspired by her confidence and daring. Together, they coordinated attacks using Lena's unconventional strategies. They moved through narrow passages, forcing the Ziran machines into disadvantageous positions. Lena fired at weak points, disabling units with precision. The Ziran warlord appeared again, overseeing the battlefield from a hovering pod. Lena assessed the situation. The pod was heavily shielded, and direct attacks were nearly useless. But she had an idea. Using the terrain and a combination of precise shots, she created a small opening in the pod's defenses. With a running leap, Lena grabbed onto the pod's surface, using the hidden shield to block incoming fire. Sparks flew as energy bolts struck the shield, but it held firm. She pried open a control panel and disabled the pod's systems. The machine spun out of control, crashing into a line of Xiran troops and scattering them. The Varkari soldiers erupted in cheers, rallying at her side. Lena's actions inspired them to fight harder, to push beyond fear and to trust in their own strength. One by one, they disabled enemy units, following her lead with precision and bravery. During the chaos, Lena noticed a group of Xiran soldiers trying to retreat with stolen supplies and weapons. She moved swiftly, intercepting them with a combination of agility and clever tactics. The hidden shield deflected an energy blast aimed at her chest, and she used the momentum to push two enemies off a ledge, ending the threat without endangering herself. The commander approached, observing her ingenuity and fearlessness. "Human, your tactics. They are extraordinary. You fight not just with strength but with intelligence and creativity. Today you have not only defended our forces, you have taught us how to fight." Lena paused, catching her breath. "We fight because we must survive. And sometimes, surviving means thinking differently, using what others overlook and never underestimating your own potential." The commander nodded. Around them, the Varkari soldiers worked in unison, their morale soaring. Lena had done more than defeat the enemy. She had united them, shown them that courage and strategy could triumph over sheer force. As the battle drew to its climax, Lena spotted the main Xiran war machine, massive and heavily armed, moving toward the Varkari center. Its weapons could destroy everything in seconds. Lena didn't hesitate. She sprinted toward it, drawing the attention of the machine and its operators. The Varkari soldiers followed her lead, flanking the war machine and hitting its vulnerable joints. Lena climbed onto the machine's side, using the hidden shield to block energy blasts. Sparks flew and panels buckled under the pressure, but the shield held strong. With a well-aimed strike, she disabled the main weapon system, causing the machine to collapse in a shower of sparks and smoke. The battlefield fell silent. The Xirans, witnessing the fall of their largest unit and the chaos caused by Lena's actions, began retreating in disarray. The Varkari soldiers cheered, rushing forward to secure the remaining enemy forces. The commander approached Lena, his face filled with gratitude and admiration. "You have done the impossible, human. You have turned the tide of this battle. Your courage, your skill, your ingenuity. It has saved countless lives." Lena lowered her gaze, exhausted but satisfied. "I did what had to be done. The shield was meant for protection, and I used it to survive and help others. That's all." The Varkari soldiers, once skeptical, now bowed in respect. Those who had mocked her broken armor yesterday now stood in awe. Lena had shown them the true strength of humanity, not just physical but creative, strategic, and unyielding in the face of danger. The commander extended a hand, which Lena shook firmly. "You are more than an ally. You are a hero and a symbol of what humans can achieve. Today we have learned that courage and intelligence can change the course of war." Lena nodded quietly. "Thank you. But remember, it's not about being a hero. It's about surviving, adapting, and protecting those who cannot protect themselves." The Varkari soldiers began repairing their lines, inspired and invigorated. Lena walked among them, offering advice, encouragement, and strategies. Her broken armor, once ridiculed, now symbolized resilience, ingenuity, and hope. The hidden shield beneath it had proven its worth, saving her life countless times and helping to secure a decisive victory. As the sun climbed higher, Lena stood once more on the ridge overlooking the battlefield. The Xirans were retreating and the Varkari had regained control of their territory. Yet Lena knew the war was far from over. There would be more battles, more enemies, and more challenges. But for now, she allowed herself a moment of quiet satisfaction. The Varkari commander approached one last time. "Human, your actions will be remembered. Today you have not only defended our people, you have changed how we see humanity. You are a true warrior." Lena smiled faintly, brushing dust and grime from her armor. "I fight for survival, for those who cannot fight for themselves. That's all anyone can do." The commander nodded, understanding her humility. Around them, the Varkari soldiers continued repairing their equipment, inspired by her courage and ingenuity. Lena had not only fought the enemy, but had inspired an entire species to believe in themselves and in the strength of humanity. As Lena prepared to move on, the commander spoke again. "If ever you need allies, human, Remember, the Varkari will follow you. Lena nodded, her eyes scanning the horizon. There were battles ahead, but she was ready. Her broken armor, reforged shield, and unwavering courage had carried her this far. She would continue to fight, continue to inspire, and continue to prove that humans, underestimated though they might be, could achieve greatness beyond imagination. The sun shone brightly over Zithera 7, illuminating a battlefield transformed not just by strategy and combat, but by courage, ingenuity, and the unbreakable human spirit. Lena, the unexpected warrior, had turned ridicule into respect, doubt into admiration, and a broken shield into a symbol of hope. And the galaxy, though vast and often indifferent, had begun to take notice.